Karr.
Present.
Councilmember Verga. Mr. Bruhn.
Here.
Mr. Houston.
Present.
Mr. Ivey.
Here.
Mr. Cecere.
Here.
Ms. Verga. Here.
And just for the record, Mr. Cortez is unable to make it with us tonight. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer, please, and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we ask you to bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that in fulfilling their public trust, every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Morris Plains. Amen. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for Marty Reilly, who passed away earlier this week, an Army veteran, a Morris Plains police officer, and also with Harding. He was also a member of the Morris Minutemen until the age of 65, where he was actively running calls, and a past member of the Board of Adjustment. Thank you. Notice to members of the governing body and borough staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purpose of borough business. Approval of minutes, Mr. Ivey.
I, Councilmember Ivey, move the minutes of December 18th, 2025 to be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. Approval of consent agenda, Mr. Ivey.
Resolution 2025-174, entitled Resolution Appointing John E. Horan, Esquire, as Municipal Prosecutor. Resolution 2025-175, entitled Borough of Morris Plains, Resolution authorizing execution of mediation agreement with Fair Share Housing Center regarding forthbound housing element and fair share settlement. Resolution 2025-176, entitled Resolution ratifying the 2026 through 2030 collective negotiation agreement with PBA local number 254. Resolution 2025-177, entitled Resolution accepting the proposal from Paulus, Sokolowski, and Sarter PC for a schematic design study for the additions and alterations to the existing police department and the municipal building. The Borough Council approved the membership application of John A. Bowman, 16 Washington Avenue, Morris Plains, as a member of the Morris Plains Fire Department. The Borough Council approved the membership application of Alexander J. Koziak, 10 Forest Drive, Morris Plains, as a member of the Morris Plains Fire Department. The mayor is hereby authorized to execute MJDOT change order number 1 as per the Borough Engineer correspondence for improvements to Glenwood Road. Having received quotes for installation of lights at Community Park from the following: Horan Electric, $6,720.00. O'Malley Electric, $15,000.00. That a purchase order be issued to Horan Electric, 9 Catherine Place, Morris Plains, New Jersey, in the amount of $6,720.00.
Is there a second? Second by Nancy, roll call please.
Mr. Bruhn.
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivey.
Yes.
Mr. Cecere.
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
So just as I mentioned at the last meeting, that I could give an update on the affordable housing that's going to be required for the borough. I'm very happy and pleased to announce that we've got that number down to 21.5 units of 137 units, which could have been detrimental to Morris Plains, another 700 roughly units. We're going to be doing some overlay zones. There'll be some ordinances and whatnot coming in April and March and whatnot. It's finishing up this affordable. But this is what the borough and the Fair Share Housing Center has agreed to, and this just came. It was finished up on Sunday night. So tomorrow is the deadline for all these towns to meet their requirement, and so we are within those deadlines, which would not have been any fault of ours. Fair Share Housing was the one holding up this process and hold up for this last round. So I'd like to thank the Affordable Housing Committee, everybody who was involved. I think it's a major win for the borough, and be in pretty good shape as far as the affordable housing goes. everybody, and also our professionals. This time I'd like to invite members of the public.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if you don't mind,
ahead.
for the public. So there's two items, just real quick. So the council see, in front of you all, you have a package. It's 14 pages. It represents the updated checklist for the applications for planning board and for zoning board of adjustment. Over the last, as I mentioned, over the last year, myself, Dave Schultz, Mike Verga, Bill Ryden, we worked to revise this. We got it from 37 pages to 14 pages. They've reduced the amount of copies that are required, like hard copies of plans, from 20 to 6. It also provides for a digital submission via PDF, and it revises the entire application. We didn't do a side-by-side comparison, although you're welcome to look at the original if you'd like to. But instead, we looked at what's required based on the input from the professionals, as I mentioned, also from the zoning board of adjustment and the planning board. The administrative process will now be reviewed by the borough engineer, not require a meeting to determine completion. This will save the applicant, the board members, and the borough time, money, and speed up the process to review the actual applications. Anything that has to do with waivers will, of course, come back to the appropriate boards. But what I'd like the council to do is just, over the holidays, take a look at it. This will be attached to an updated ordinance, which I plan to introduce beginning of the year. But if you have any comments on it, like I said, the planning board and the zoning board of adjustment have already reviewed and provided their comments. So just a little light reading for the holiday season.
So before you introduce an ordinance, are you gonna run this by the planning board and board of adjustment as a final copy before the council does it? A lot of the council members aren't even familiar at all with any of the planning board or board of adjustment procedures, I'll say. So I think it would probably be a good idea to run it by those two.
Well, this is comprehensive of all the comments from the planning board and the board of adjustment, but I can absolutely send it back.
I would suggest that.
Sure.
Yeah,
No problem.
that'd be good.
But like I said, it will be, it will accompany an ordinance, which obviously will require action by the council. So if anybody has any comments, please let me know at the beginning of the year.
So what would the ordinance be for? What would the ordinance say?
So all the ordinance, because the checklists are attached to an ordinance, we just have to update the ordinance to include the new checklist.
Okay.
So that's really the only update.
And you said that both the board of adjustment and the planning board has already reviewed this extensively and given you.
So they provided comments on the drafts that the committee has provided to them. This is a result of that. This is the final version of it. As the mayor suggested, I will send this final version back to the planning board and the zoning board of adjustment so that they can do a final review. But I'd like to do that concurrently with the council review as well.
Yeah, there was a committee that reviewed all the changes and came up with this final.
As I said, the committee was myself, Dave Schultz, Mike Verga, so the chair of the planning board, chair of the zoning board of adjustment, and Bill Ryder. No, it's okay. Yeah, so we've been meeting since the beginning of the year to revise this process.
Okay,
Yep, so that's all. And then the only other thing is just, the ordinance is gonna get read on second reading tonight, just to remind the public. Ordinance 14/2025 seeks to regulate residential occupancy, prohibit boarding and rooming in houses in single-family zones, limit occupancy to one family plus 2 additional occupants, requires minimum 6-month leases, and mandates certificate of habitability with inspections before each tenancy. Its purpose is to protect public health and safety, reduce strain on municipal services, preserve neighborhood character, and establish clear enforcement penalties and inspection procedures. So that's going to be on second reading tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moving forward, public invitation for comment. Anybody wish to?
Hello, Bellomo, Candid Place.
Morning, Joe.
Mark.
Good morning. Say good morning. Somebody say good morning.
So, real quick, thank you so much for honoring Mr. Reilly, Marty Reilly tonight. He was my neighbor growing up. I'm gonna share a quick story. When I was in kindergarten, first grade, we had this huge pine tree in my backyard. I climbed it all the way to the top. I couldn't figure a way to get down. Mr. Reilly being my neighbor, And my parents coming out screaming at me to come get down. Said, get down. Mr. Reilly came over and said, Bacchioni. And I wish Sal was here because he knows that means dummy in Italian. Get down. And he put a big ladder up. I eventually climbed down. But Mr. Reilly should be honored. He was a great man for this town. He was a great neighbor. So thank you for doing that tonight. I appreciate that.
We're gonna have the flags out here. One son's on the fire department here, so the flag.
That's great.
The police are part of they'll give them a motorcade procession.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a little cheap, they're working on something big.
That's great. Was his son the chief, Dennis? Was he chief of the police at one point?
Township.
Of the township, okay.
But
But
let him be chief.
thank you for doing that. He really should be honored.
Yeah.
And-
So you brought up a quick story. I want this quick story, but when I went to the St. Virgil's way back when, probably fourth grade, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it was, but before we had crossing guards, they used the police to cross, right? So he was always the crossing guard up there. So I always waited till the end, right? So I crossed at the end of his shift or whatever, his time, and then he used to drive me home right then.
Yeah.
I
And
thought
think
who
he was
I
a bus
was,
driver.
riding in the top.
Pretty sure he's a bus driver too.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he retired, he's a bus driver. Yeah, it just, thank you.
A little bit of everything.
That's well deserved. What else? Oh, at the planning committee last week, Ms. McCluskey talked about the right-hand turn on Hanover Ave. And she asked, what is the county doing about it, but what is the town doing about that?
So when I found out about this application that was coming in, I had my attorney speak with their attorney on dedicating a portion of their property. Because it's not Rivian, it's a private owner that owns the property. So we're in discussions now with the property owner to dedicate a portion of that, his property for a right-hand turn, like 10, 12, whatever, however many feet, whatever.
That's the old gas station.
No, it's gonna be with that driveway that they're closing off, we'll start there, hopefully. Start there and go up to the intersection. So queue maybe 8, 10 cars, maybe 6, something like that. Yes.
Okay, so it's not just the gas station, it's,
It'll be the Acme lot.
okay. So
We don't have any dedication from the Acme lot to the borough right now, or the county, wherever it's gonna end up going, to grant that property to use for the right of way.
Okay. So you guys work with county DOT, is there? a
Right
county
now, we're
DOT?
working with the attorneys are working to get some sort of agreement.
Okay. And last, we have big appointments coming up. Planning board second be discussed tonight, or is, that's just,
That'll be a reorg.
that'll be a reorg, whoever's appointed is appointed. Okay.
No, it's supposed to be tonight.
Yeah, that's the mayor's appointment tonight. Or planning board's mayor's appointment. This is required council.
Oh, for planning board.
Okay. Okay.
It's on the 7th, that meeting, the reorg.
Thanks, Al. Merry Christmas, guys. Happy New Year's. Thank you for all that.
Thanks,
you
Joe.
do. Thanks for putting up with us.
You help out too.
Thank you.
Jill Cecere, 11 Dayton Road. I'm just trying to get some follow-up clarification from the last meeting. Nancy brought up a question about the piles of debris at the Friendly's site. And Mayor Karr, you had stated that there's like no time limit for the debris to be removed as long as it's been approved, which I don't know who would approve it. And you characterized it as an active
Yeah, they have
construction
an
site.
active permit over there, it's an active construction.
Well, okay, I'll get to that in a second. And then also, Mr. Bruhn had raised concern about the tarps being removed because of, dust remediation. Mr. Ryden, who I was hoping was going to be here because I think he might be able to answer some of my questions, had indicated that they're not required and that they serve primarily for privacy. Although Mr. Bruhn, based off of his professional experience and from what I've, researched, that those are commonly used for dust mitigation and debris control, on top of privacy also. I agree with the privacy thing. So I had some questions. Has the demolition permit been formally closed out?
I don't have these.
Because there has been no demolition for 2 months, and clearly there's not going to be more because it is empty. And that's why I had a question, like, if it hasn't, why has it not been closed out? What is the borough procedures for closing out a demo permit?
It's not the borough, whoever did the work contract, or whoever pulled the permit would ask for a final inspection, whether that was done or not, I don't know.
So when there is a demolition permit for anything in town, they get the permit, and then it does get closed out after an inspection. And who would do that inspection?
Building department.
Right, I get confused when everybody says the building department, because there's like the construction, there's a zoning, there's like, I don't know who.
I don't wanna say exactly who will be out there to do it, probably the construction official will be out there to do it.
Yeah.
It all comes out of the building department.
Because so I'm assuming there is no construction permits, that have been issued yet.
Not that I'm aware
So
of.
I'm not sure how the borough can define this property as an active construction site when demolition ended 2 months ago and there's no construction permits.
The material I know is gonna be used on site whenever anything happens there, so I don't think I'm speaking for that property owner, but I don't know if that property owner or the contractor or McDonald's, whoever's building the building, is gonna incur the cost to move it and then bring it back if they're gonna reuse it. That's the whole idea of grinding that up to recycle.
Okay, has the borough verified that that crushed material is clean fill according to NJDEP regulations?
I would say yes.
So-
I would say it's part of the permit. So if it has to get tested, if that's part of one of the requirements, I'm sure that got done.
Well,
If it's not a requirement.
demolition hasn't
Listen,
been,
you're talking,
I understand, but you said the demolition permit
Okay,
hasn't
you're-
been closed
I'm not an
down.
expert in that department, you're gonna have to send an email over to them and find out what the exact process is and what
Okay.
is needed for whatever.
Well, given that 2 buildings were demolished, crushed, and have been left there uncovered for 2 months at that site, directly next to a neighborhood, food establishments, schools across the street, and there's been no mitigation for dust being blowing around the neighborhood or anything that might be in those piles seeping into the ground.
I don't
For
think
2
there's any
months?
requirement for that, and
I am-
it's regular
I am
concrete.
formally requesting, if it hasn't been done so already, that it is tested according to the NJDEP's clean fill
I think
requirements.
you should send an email to Bill Ryden and to Bill O'Connor and ask them the requirements.
Well, I know the requirements because I have that all printed out, but I'm not gonna get into that. But I wanna know if it has been certified as clean fill or what they call beneficial use determination, BUD, which it sounds like is what you were saying it's probably gonna be used for. And they each have their own separate requirements, but they definitely have requirements that need to be tested. And I would like it tested if it hasn't been already. If it has, great. If it cleared, great. I just wanna
And if
see.
it's a requirement,
I
I
wanna
think
see it.
it would be, if it's not, I don't know if they will be, so.
Okay. Let's see. So, given that those windscreen tarps have been removed, it doesn't seem like they're ever going back up. What is the town doing to control the dust and the visual light? It's a nuisance. Under our nuisance laws, our code and ordinances, we have, nuisance and unsightly properties and maintenance, and I could
I don't know.
rattle off like 2 or 3 things that come to mind that.
Yeah, but I don't know if it particularly applies to what you see over there. I think it's ceiling paint, maybe gutters falling down. I don't know exactly. I don't have any of that
It
stuff
does,
in
it
front
does
of us.
apply. And it cannot be above the fence height, anything being stored. And clearly, there's nothing that says that they're allowed to store crushed demolition debris.
It's
Definitely.
crushed concrete,
It's not just concrete, it's everything besides the metal. It could be lead paint, it could be asbestos because the asbestos testing wasn't completely submitted. There's many hazardous materials that could be in it, it's not just concrete. It's two buildings that were built back in the 70s or 60s.
that they got rid of, right? And then they crushed up the brick and the concrete. There's no,
They,
all right, listen,
I'm not trying to argue, I'm just trying
We're not
to,
gonna argue. The
I'm
best
just-
thing to do is the requirements
I'm
that you
just
need to
trying to get
know.
on record if it has been tested or not, because if it has not, I am requesting that it is immediately tested. Also, if the building, if there is not going to be construction permits issued in the very near future, what is the borough's plans and requirements to have that removed? Like, are they just gonna sit around and wait? I mean, it may be months.
Again, I don't have anything in front of me to
Okay,
give you an
and
answer right now.
that's
The best
fine.
thing to do is
I'm
to be,
just going to, I would like to, I'm gonna email you my questions, and instead of myself hunting down the right people, I'm asking you to please
be happy to do
make
that.
sure that it gets to the right people and that I get answers this time. Because when I sent my letter in September regarding the asbestos testing and other concerns, crickets.
Well, there's a difference of opinion on that, but whatever.
Well, I got no
Whatever,
answers.
Whatever.
You
Again, I-
told me to go to the construction department, which I had already had that sent. The only person that responded to me initially was Chief Gorski, and I just sent it to him to keep him in the loop. And then, I've got one or
Bill
two.
O'Connor said that he spoke to you, he was at your house, I mean,
That
we
was
go back
a
and
week prior to me.
send it to me,
I'm
we'll get you,
fine,
get it to
that's fine.
to the proper people, and
I'm
then
just-
we'll get you an
In
answer.
closing, I just want to say that the demolition ended 2 months ago. There's no permits issued for construction. There's huge piles of debris remaining next to my house. The pizza, Dunkin' Donuts, the schools across the street, the church across the street. This has been blowing around for 2 months. It doesn't seem to be a problem to the people that are in charge of making sure this doesn't happen. And I'm just asking that things are followed by the rules of either our town codes and ordinances or, the New Jersey Uniform Construction Codes. Because there's a list of things that I've been reading that doesn't seem like that's being followed. And I'm just concerned. It might happen all the time, but I'm not letting it happen by my house and by my neighborhood. And if I saw it somewhere else and I had concerns, I would bring it up also. I'm just asking for some answers and some follow through. We don't have full-time inspectors. I don't know who's in charge. Like, I would assume the buck stops with you, but who's in charge to make sure all these departments are doing their jobs?
We have the professionals that are in charge of that. It does not fall under this group of people. It's Bill O'Connor, it's our engineer, and it's whoever else that they need from the building department.
I understand that.
We have a we have a soils engineer, we have, for any soil disturbance stuff, the county's involved, I mean, but we'll get you the answers that you need. Send it to me and I'll get you the answers.
Okay, thank you.
So,
I will.
Joe, I spoke with the zoning officer today, and he is of the impression, and that, which agrees with us, that mound is not going to stay there indeterminately. As you know, there is litigation, but that should be solved in the month of January. If they are going, if the building is to be built, then they can use that soil fill and then fill in the site like they're planning on. If it fails and the application is rejected, then the zoning officer will enforce the removal of that, or at least come to the boards to have that be put back there. Because I didn't get to see the demo plans in time, but I don't expect that there is a soil mound on the drawings, because last I checked, soil mound is not approved use from that zone. So I think we're just in a little bit of a purgatory here to keep that there in case they do build it, because the last thing I think we want to be doing is creating another dust rest of the operation to load them onto 20 dump trucks to cart them off and then do it again to bring it back up. So if it stays there for a couple more months, because the property owner demoed the site, it's now a vacant site. It's now,
Right, that's
the
what
demo
I'm
plan,
saying.
the
It's
demo,
considered a vacant
the
lot.
demo permit, I assume is done because it's not posted up. But they can't do anything until the litigation is, well, they can, but they're just assuming not to until the litigation is done. And they can't do anything with that mound without a grading plan, and the grading plan will be submitted by the McDonald's engineers. So the McDonald's engineers aren't pushing it for anything until they, I guess, assume we'll get through this litigation.
But my concern is that even if they win in the appeal and it's gonna be built, it's not like it's gonna instantaneously be gone.
No, I agree.
So, you know, let's be real, it's gonna be several months more of it sitting there. If they can prove to me that it's been tested
I agree.
and there is nothing in that that is a health hazard to any of us, then I'll keep quiet for a little bit. But if it becomes this ongoing thing that, you know, they have designs or there's, you know, changes in this, and all of a sudden we're into the middle of the summer and nothing's happened and that's still sitting there, I will not be fine.
We might even be able to request that they submit a grading plan and they get started on that work immediately.
But,
You can make a request.
yes, everything I'm,
Elevation work.
No, they're agreement.
you know, I've been trying to educate myself and it seems to me that it's not a demo site anymore, but it's not a construction site, it is a vacant lot. And there are rules for vacant lots in town. And nowhere in those rules does it state that they can have giant mounds sitting there. It's unsightly, it's possibly a health hazard, and just want something either done or proven that we are all safe being next to that and it blowing into my yard and into my neighbors' yards and the school and the restaurants. Thank you.
Hi, JoAnn Dugan, 31 Canfield. I had a question regarding the right turn lane that you guys were talking about before. So is there agreement with whoever owns the corner property to make that a right turn lane? There is, okay. And the other question I had, and this is very minor, but it's just a bee in my bonnet. I live on Canfield, obviously, and I have to buy a $5, it's not about the money, it's a principal thing. I have to buy the $5 sticker to put in my car window so I don't get a ticket for parking on my own street. Okay, I bought the ticket I bought the sticker last year. Why do I have to buy a new one every year?
That that's Mr. I don't know the ins and outs of that, so I don't want to speak.
Because I mean, nothing's changed. It's same car, same house, same everything. And
It's
I
more
don't,
the color of the stickers that change, so that they don't change. I'm gonna stay out of it, because I don't.
because I mean, if nothing changes, like if I were to buy a new car, then I would need another sticker. But nothing's changed, and I don't know that anybody else in town, other than those few streets, is required to buy a parking pass to park on their own street.
What, 15 streets?
So the parking stickers, my understanding, they all expire, right? All the parking permits, it's a parking permit of sorts.
But why do I need a parking permit to park on my own street?
Because there's no parking on certain streets. So it's an exception for people who live on the street. Everybody else can't park there. You have a sticker, so.
Right, but everybody else in town, why is it only those streets? Why doesn't every
We
other
did that
person?
because of the train station and the post office, so people don't park for an extended period of time on the roads, and then you guys, whatever roads they are, can't park. So it's basically in the area of the train and over here, like Jake Y, Mayfair, those things.
Okay.
There's a request from streets that are in the vicinity, from people who said like, my mother comes, she has nowhere to park because I have these people that park on my street every
Right.
day.
Well, you're
No,
asking
I-
why can't it be a lifetime permit?
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah. Yeah, like why do I have to pay for it every year?
I don't know about that. I guess the question is,
And I mean, it's not about the money, it's,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
obviously.
it's also
But-
more administrative work for us to.
Right, I mean, if
process
nothing
it.
changes, and like, if I were to move and I left that neighborhood with my car and my sticker,
Nobody
my
wants
car's
to-
not there with the sticker, so, you know what I mean? It's like, it would seem to, I might, if things don't go sideways, but, it, you know, it just seems, like you said, it's more of an administrative task for you guys. Like, if there's no change to the situation, why make more work for yourself?
Let's look into it.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good question.
Okay, moving on to ordinances on second reading.
I have a,
Mr.
can I,
Houston.
Peter Bacchioni, 480 Boxwood Drive. AE. Just a quick question on how you enforce dogs and rabies. I know I paid $15, and anyone that has a pet knows they're the most precious thing in the world. So the other day, I was walking Coco, and this dog, I don't know what she was taking on, but I mean, this dog was like this big, and she's this big. But, and the woman that was holding the dog, I mean, she weighed 3 pounds, and the dog weighed about 50 pounds. And so I was wondering, like, God forbid something happened. Years ago, my neighbors were saying that there was knocks on doors, and just to see whether or not there were dogs, you know, so how do you gauge, like, does everybody have the rabies shot, and
So every few years, we have sent people out, the police, they do random checks.
The state stopped it.
Yeah,
It was a
state
state
stopped that.
statute to do the checks. The state stopped it, so we are not required to do it. If something happens between two dogs, animal control researches rabies. They have to produce rabies.
There's nothing preventative, like, we're not doing anything preventative.
We used to, we can't.
We can't.
We used to, you know, every couple of years,
Yeah,
we'd
it's
have,
like a survey.
we'd have
Somebody
2
would knock on
people
doors,
go there.
do you have any pets? And then they have a record with them and say, oh, I don't have any licensed pets in your home, why do I see a dog here? And they would make them follow up and make
That
sure.
was regulated by the state.
State,
and
yeah.
it's no longer.
Yeah, got it.
yeah, so I'm on the board of Foxwood, so I know everybody. So if for some reason I feel that someone's not complying, that's something I can report, right?
So, Foxwood asked, Foxwood cracked down on everybody gets licenses, and they're supposed to register with Barbara.
Oh, we don't know.
And so you can check with Barbara, and, we have checks in the
Yeah.
office to see if dogs are licensed in Foxwood.
Yeah, I know everyone doesn't play by the rules, I do, so.
So this person would follow up with the homeowner
No,
about.
well, she would know, Barbara does it over there, so
She
she.
would say you're not on my list.
Yeah, we need to get more on that, like,
She was very good, that was a couple years ago, they were very strict with it, and I don't know what happens.
Yeah. We need to get rid of it. Okay.
You're welcome to say something to people, I mean, as a
Well, I
warning,
don't
say,
show
I
up,
mean,
so, you know.
get cracked.
No, I will, because, you know, our dogs are everything,
Right.
not everybody plays by the rules,
Right.
so before it's too late.
I think it was a requirement that they're supposed to let Barbara know and show proof of
Everybody.
licensing.
Yeah, I'll follow up with that. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, thanks.
Okay, ordinances on second reading.
I, Councilmember Houston, read by title, the ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 14-2025.
An ordinance of the Borough of Morris Plains, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, establishing a new chapter 31 to be entitled Occupancy of Dwelling in the Borough Code of Morris Plains, which ordinance was introduced and passed on first reading at a meeting held on December 18, 2025.
I announce the meeting is open for a public hearing on the ordinance. Seeing no one, I close the public hearing.
I, Councilmember Houston, state that the above ordinance, as read by title on second reading at this meeting, be adopted and finally passed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn,
Yes.
Mr. Houston,
Yes.
Mr. Ivey.
Yes.
Mr. Pontier.
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
I declare the ordinance adopted and finally passed. And this is the ordinance that Councilman Houston spoke of at the earlier part of the meeting. Moving on to vouchers. Ms. Verga.
Move that the checklist dated December 18th, 2025, in the amount of $3,626,346.60 consents be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivey?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
And Ms. Verga?
Yes. I move that the check receipt dated December 30th, 2025, in the amount of $751,973.25 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tyler. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn?
Yes.
Mr. Houston?
Yes.
Mr. Ivey?
Yes.
Mr. Pontier?
Yes.
Ms. Verga?
Yes.
So just with the appointments of the council, I'm going to recommend that we keep everybody the same and also recommend Mr. Bruhn, it's his turn in rotation for council president, and that's my recommendation. Try to keep everybody on there for 2 years on the committees, so next year we'll move on.
So, in the bylaws, it says, Article 5, Section 1, the mayor shall appoint all committees, subcommittees, and their respective chairs, with such appointments being subject to the advice and consent of a majority of the council. The mayor shall discuss his proposed appointments to council committees for the forthcoming year, with the council meeting to be held no later than 2 weeks prior to the annual meeting referred to in Article 4, Section 1 above. It doesn't say that it's just the council committees, it says all committees, subcommittees, and respective chairs.
Well, that's a board, the planning board, board of adjustment is a board. So if that's what you're getting at, it's not, there's nothing to do.
Well, it's not just,
We can check with their attorney if you'd like. So.
I'm not just talking about the planning board, just any appointments besides the council. It says all committees, subcommittees, and their respective chairs.
Yeah. Everything should remain the same.
To try to answer this question, reading between the lines, the language in the bylaws says that all appointments of committees, subcommittees, and other various committees within the borough with advice and consent are council. That's true of all the committees that we often refer to and have committee reports here during public meetings. And for example, like public health and things like that as well. However, in terms of the planning board is governed under, it's, for those who want to look up the statute, it's 40:55D-23, subsection A, I believe it is, A1. That provides that, and everybody's jumping, I know, on Google, but that provides, and
Sure, we're anxious.
that provides that all four classes, class 1, 2, 3, and 4, are appointed by the mayor, unless the ordinance provides otherwise. There's an ordinance in town that provides otherwise, or you are a chartered form of government, which is real attorneys refer to as a Faulkner form of government, which we are not. We are a borough form of government. So the one appointment that is essentially solely within the mayor's purview is that to the planning board, because that's governed under that statute I just cited, not under our bylaws and not under our local ordinance. And if we had an ordinance that provided this for advice and consent of council, we'd have a problem, because that would be trumped under what's known as the supremacy clause in the state statute. So that's the one appointment that is solely within the mayor's purview.
So just to clarify, when you say one appointment, you're talking about any of the members that have their terms are expiring at the end of this year, regardless of the class. Those are all.
Right, if you read that statute, it says, like, 1 is the mayor or his designee,
Right.
3 is if there's an environmental commission. I don't remember the exact, I know we don't have an environmental commission, but 4 is just about everybody else,
Sure.
for lack of a better term.
Right.
And everybody else is also appointed by the mayor.
Got it.
Unless, again, you're a Faulkner form of government, which we're not.
So I guess my question would be, if you took the planning board out of the discussion, because that is the mayor's purview without any advice and consent of the council, are there any other appointments that are going to be made in the new calendar year that would, any other appointments, right, for Board of Health, or Rec Commission, or municipal lines, any of those other ones, we would have an opportunity to discuss 2 weeks before.
That would be committee, subcommittee.
Yeah, so I guess that's my question. So I know you mentioned the council standing committees, which is great. Are there any other appointments for this year that are new that will be
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I'm not asking, I'm asking the mayor.
I don't think so.
So there's, everybody's coming back on the Board of Health. Sorry, you have a look?
No, let's see.
Inside?
Yeah. Right.
And everybody's remaining on rec. And
Municipal alliances.
municipal lines, I don't do anything there. Those are, I think those are the only two.
What about the sheet treatment?
They're remaining the same. We need no executive session, I don't think, in adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, and everybody have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
CGS email coming out. Yeah, probably, yeah. I'm just waiting to hear back from Sergeant Hoffman, because I really wanted to